You already know the feeling. You're walking to the kitchen in the morning, not yet fully awake, and you see it before you fully process what it is. Something small. Something that was alive yesterday, positioned somewhere deliberate. On the doormat, at the foot of the bed, sometimes directly on top of something you own, as if placed there with intention. And your cat is watching you, sitting nearby, perfectly composed, looking at you with the focused attention of someone who has just done something they expect to be acknowledged. The instinct for most people is to recoil, then feel confused, then feel vaguely guilty about feeling confused. Because your cat isn't being cruel. You know that, somewhere. But you don't know what they're being. You don't know what this means, or what you're supposed to do with it, or why an animal you feed twice a day and who sleeps on your pillow is presenting you with a dead bird at 7 in the morning, like a very small, very serious delivery service. The behavioral science behind this moment is older than domestication itself, and it explains something about your cat that most owners spend years living with and never fully understand. Start here. Your cat is not confused about what food is. They know exactly where food comes from, and it isn't the garden. The hunting is not about nutrition. Research consistently confirms that domestic cats eat only around 30% of the prey they actually kill. If they needed hunting to survive, they would need to successfully catch between 10 and 20 animals per day just to maintain their body weight. That is not what is happening. What is happening is something else entirely. A behavioral program running in your cat's nervous system that has almost nothing to do with hunger and almost everything to do with the social role they have assigned to you. To understand it, you need to understand what a mother cat does. At around 32 to 36 days after birth, documented consistently across behavioral studies and summarized in the cat behavior literature, a queen begins the most sophisticated teaching sequence seen in any domestic animal. She brings dead prey to her kittens, not to eat in front of them, but to leave for them, to let them examine it, investigate it, understand its shape and smell and texture. This is stage 1 of a multi-part educational protocol that ethologists have documented in detail. Stage 2 comes days later. She brings prey that is injured but alive. The kittens must now engage with something that moves. They must learn to respond to the unpredictability of live prey without the risk of real confrontation. Stage 3. The mother demonstrates the kill in front of them, and gradually, across weeks, the kittens are integrated into actual hunts until they can execute the full sequence independently. This is not instinct operating in isolation. It is teaching, deliberate, scaffolded, progressive maternal instruction that adjusts in difficulty as the kittens develop. Caro Bateson and colleagues documented this sequence formally, and Caro's research confirmed that kittens who observed their mothers hunt became measurably more proficient predators than kittens who did not. The presence of the mother during prey exposure in infancy directly improves adult prey-catching behavior. The social transmission of hunting skill is one of the most robust findings in feline behavioral research. Now consider your situation. Your cat, particularly if spayed or neutered, has no kittens. The maternal or proto-maternal program is running. The drive to hunt is running. The drive to bring prey back to the core territory, which is your home, is running. And somewhere in the architecture of that behavioral sequence, the category of the ones I bring prey to and teach includes you. You are the kitten. Not insultingly, not diminutively, but in the functional sense that matters to feline behavioral programming. You are the individual in the social group who is being provisioned, who is being shown, who is being included in the most fundamental knowledge transfer this animal knows how to perform. The dead bird is not a trophy. It is not a gift in the human sense of that word. It is a lesson. It is the first stage of the maternal teaching sequence. The dead prey brought to the nest, being enacted by an animal whose nervous system is running a program that no amount of domestication has fully overwritten. Emmanuel Baudry, an urban ecologist at Paris-Saclay University who has studied this behavior in depth, found something else that supports this reading. In research examining the personality variables that predict prey delivery behavior, her team found that dominant, active cats brought significantly more dead animals home than shy or passive ones. The cats most likely to engage in this behavior were the ones most behaviorally similar to a confident, socially engaged queen. The cats most likely to perceive themselves as having a social teaching role in their environment. This is not a pathology. It is not behavioral dysfunction. It is an ancient program executing in a context that was not present when the program evolved. Directed at a recipient who cannot participate in the lesson and does not understand what is being offered. What makes this behavior genuinely difficult is the layer that comes after the psychology. Because while your cat is running a 10,000-year-old maternal teaching sequence, the ecological consequences of that sequence in the modern world are significant in ways that have nothing to do with your living room floor. A 2013 systematic review published in Nature Communications by Loss, Will, and Marra at the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute, a study that analyzed data from 17 prior studies across North America, estimated that free-ranging domestic cats kill between 1.3 and 4.0 billion birds, and between 6.3 and 22.3 billion small mammals in the United States annually. That range is wide because the data on feral cat populations is incomplete, but even the lower bound makes cats the single largest source of human-associated mortality for birds and mammals in the country. Larger than window collisions, larger than vehicles, larger than pesticide exposure. The majority of that mortality comes from feral and unowned cats rather than owned pets. But owned cats with out-of-door access contribute meaningfully, and the behavior driving those numbers is exactly the behavior being directed at your doormat. The same predatory sequence, the same neural architecture, the same animal in a world that was not designed to absorb the consequences. This creates an uncomfortable position for the owner standing in the kitchen at 7 in the morning, because rejecting the behavior makes no sense. You cannot explain ecological ethics to an animal whose behavioral programming predates agriculture. Punishing it makes less sense. Research is unambiguous on this. Scolding a cat after a prey delivery does not reduce hunting. The cat has no mechanism to connect your frustration to an act that, from their perspective, was socially appropriate and skillfully executed. What the cat registers is that their social teaching behavior produced an aversive response from the person they were trying to provision, which is confusing and counterproductive. It does not stop the hunting. It damages the relationship. What the behavioral literature does recommend is practical and specific. Keeping cats indoors eliminates the behavior entirely and also eliminates the ecological impact. For owners who allow outdoor access, collar bells reduce hunting success by giving prey animals auditory warning. Multiple studies confirm their effectiveness, though not perfectly. Increasing daily play with prey-mimicking toys, wand toys, feather lures, anything that activates the full predatory sequence of stalk, chase, catch, and kill, helps discharge the predatory drive in a way that doesn't involve wildlife. The key is completing the full cycle, not just providing a toy for batting around. Cats need to complete the hunt to get the neurological resolution that the sequence is built toward. But beyond the practical, there is something worth sitting with in this moment. The animal that is presenting you with something dead at 7 in the morning is doing one of the most socially complex things a cat is capable of doing. It is extending toward you a behavior that, in feline terms, belongs only to individuals it has accepted into its most intimate social structure. The maternal teaching sequence is not performed for strangers. It is not performed for acquaintances. It is performed for the young who are being raised, for the group members who are being maintained. You are not the stranger the cat tolerates for the food. You are the individual the cat has decided to teach. The lesson is wrong for you, delivered in a language you cannot speak, concerning a skill you will never need, at a time of mourning when you are not ready for any of it. But the impulse behind it, the drive to provision, to include, to pass on the most essential knowledge this animal carries, is not wrong. It is, in its own terms, a form of care so instinctive and so deeply embedded that 10,000 years of living alongside humans have not softened it. Your cat cannot give you what it does not have. It cannot offer flowers or words or the human equivalents of affection. It can offer what it knows. And what it knows, at the most fundamental level, is how to survive, how to hunt, how to bring what the hunt yields back to the ones who matter. The next time you find something small and dead in a deliberate location, remember that. Remove it calmly, without drama, without punishment, and understand that somewhere in the behavioral architecture of the animal watching you, what just happened was not disturbing, it was generous. If this changed how you see your cat's most uncomfortable habit, subscribe and leave a comment. Has your cat ever brought you something? And what did you do?